Cemetery Murders. A Raven Darkblade Mystery. Chapter 4. Lazy Bones. Saturday morning arrived at the Crimson City Police Department like a pizza delivery nobody ordered. Unexpected and probably a mistake. Detective Raven Darkblade sat at his desk, currently 5 feet 11 inches, with weekend confusion, reading the morning paper upside down, and wondering why the comics weren't funny. "Darkblade!" Jenny shouts loud, burst through the door with her characteristic subtlety. "We have a problem." "Is it the coffee machine?" "Because I didn't mean to put orange juice in it. I thought it was coffee creamer." "Orange coffee creamer, which should exist." "Barbara Grimm is dead." Raven's height shot to 6 feet 3 inches with shock, then immediately plummeted to 5 feet 7 inches with confusion. "But we saved her. Yesterday, there was a sting operation. I fell on people. She died this morning. Broken heart syndrome. Even though she never drank the tea." "How?" Raven stood up, knocking over a cup that had been empty since Wednesday. "Digger's in jail. We have his tea. We saved the Barbara." "Apparently we didn't," Jenny said grimly. Corvus' light knife materialized in the doorway like an expensive bad omen. Today's suit was black on black on black, making him look like a designer funeral. Barbara Grimm died at 7:23 a.m., 3 days after Walter, exactly as predicted. He made a note in what appeared to be a new notebook, the old one finally full of Raven's failures. "But how?" Raven asked, his height fluctuating widely between 5 feet 8 inches and 6 feet 2 inches as his brain tried to process. "No tea, no digger, no murder weapons." "Unless," Corvus said slowly, his pen clicking once with significance. "Digger had help." "Help?" Raven pulled out his notepad. Today the back of a receipt for 17 bags of chips he didn't remember buying. "Who helps with murder? Murder helpers? Murder assistants?" "Accomplices," Jenny corrected. "We need to talk to Digger. Now." They rushed to the holding cells, where Digger O'Graves sat looking remarkably comfortable for someone facing multiple murder charges. He was doing back stretches against the wall, each movement accompanied by sounds like bubble wrap in a blender. "Digger," Jenny said forcefully. "Barbara Grimm is dead." "Right on schedule," Digger said, not looking surprised. 3 days. Like clockwork." "You were in jail," Jenny pointed out at maximum volume. "The tea's already in her system," Digger explained calmly. "Once they drink it, the timer starts. 3 to 5 days, depending on constitution." "She never drank your tea," Corvus said precisely. Digger stopped stretching. "What?" "We stopped her. She never drank anything you gave her." For the first time, Digger looked genuinely confused. But she had to. The pattern, the efficiency. How else would she die on schedule? "That's what we're asking you," Jenny shouted. "I don't know." Digger seemed genuinely distressed. "Without the tea, it doesn't work. The embalming fluid is essential. It's precisely measured, 2.3 ounces per cup, steeped for exactly 4 minutes at 180 degrees. "Very specific," Raven noted, writing 180 degrees equals hot on his receipt. "It has to be. Too little, and they just get sick. Too much, and they die immediately. which ruins the timing. Digger was pacing now, his back creating a symphony of discomfort. Someone else must have dosed her, but who? And why? Who else has access to your tea? Corvus asked, making rapid notes. Nobody. I make it myself. Secret family recipe. Digger paused. Well, except for the Grim Reapers. The what now? Raven's height shot to 6 feet 4 inches with alarm. Actual Grim Reapers. The grounds crew. Grim Jim, Grim Tim, Grim Slim. They're all named Grim something. Weird family. They help with the cemetery maintenance. And they knew about the tea? Jenny pressed. Grim Jim saw me making it once. Asked about the smell. I told him it was for pest control. Digger's face went pale. Oh no, he said something about his mother-in-law being a pest. Where would the Grims be now? Corvus asked, already moving toward the door. Saturday morning? Cemetery. They do maintenance while it's quiet. They raced to Eternal Rest Cemetery, Raven somehow arriving first, despite leaving last and taking 3 wrong turns. The cemetery in morning light looked peaceful, which in Crimson City meant it was probably hiding something terrible. The maintenance shed was near the back, past rows of headstones that seemed to judge visitors for still being alive. Raven could hear voices inside. Told you it would work, someone was saying. 3 days, just like Digger said. But now what? Another voice replied. He's in jail. We can't keep using his recipe. We make our own. How hard can it be? It's just embalming fluid and herbs. Jenny kicked open the door, despite it being unlocked, revealing 3 men who looked like they'd been assembled from the same kit with slight variations. All tall, all thin, all with the same mournful expression that suggested life was a temporary inconvenience. Grim Jim, Grim Tim, and Grim Slim, I presume, Jenny announced. How did you know? Grim Jim asked. Your name tags, Raven pointed out. They were indeed all wearing name tags, which seemed odd for gravediggers, but very helpful for detectives. You killed Barbara Grimm, Corvus stated rather than asked. We helped her join Walter, Grim Tim corrected. It's what she would have wanted. Eventually, we just sped up the timeline. With stolen tea recipe? Raven asked, his height dropping to 5 feet 9 inches with theft disappointment. Borrowed, Grim Slim insisted. We were going to give it back after we finished our project. What project? Jenny demanded. Efficiency optimization, Grim Jim explained, pulling out charts that looked remarkably similar to Digger's. We've been studying his methods, 1 hole instead of 2. It's brilliant, but he was so slow about it. 1 couple at a time. We could do 3, 4 couples a week. You're mass-producing murder? Raven's height shot to 6 feet 1 inch with mass production alarm. Mass-producing efficiency, Grim Tim corrected. Do you know how much time we save digging double plots? We can spend more time on important things. Like what? Corvus asked, his pen poised. Our true passion, Grim Slim said dreamily. Topiary art. We're entering the state championship, but grave digging takes all our time. So you're killing people to have more time for plant sculpting? Raven tried to process this, his height fluctuating uncertainly. It sounds bad when you say it like that, Grimjim admitted. It sounds bad any way you say it, Jenny shouted. The Grims looked at each other, then bolted in 3 different directions, through the cemetery, where they knew every path, every shortcut, every hiding spot. After them, Jenny commanded. Raven chased Grimjim, who had jumped onto a small grave-digging machine. It puttered away at roughly 3 miles per hour, which was somehow still faster than Raven could run. "Stop!" Raven shouted, commandeering a groundskeeper's golf cart. The chase was on, if you could call 2 vehicles moving at jogging speed through a cemetery a chase. Grimjim turned sharply, or as sharply as a gravedigger could turn. Raven followed, knocking over only 2 headstones and a decorative angel. The angel looked disappointed. "You can't escape," Raven called out. "This cemetery isn't that big." "It's 47 acres, Grimjim called back. "Oh, that's actually pretty big." The chase continued past the mausoleum, around the reflection pool, through the new plot section. Corvus had somehow appeared ahead of them, standing precisely in Grimjim's path. Grimjim swerved to avoid him and drove directly into an open grave. A double-wide grave, one that had been pre-dug for the next elderly couple. "Ironic," Corvus observed, making a note. Jenny had caught Grimtim, who tried to hide inside a large decorative urn. Grimslim had been found in the topiary garden, trying to blend in with a bush he'd shaped like a person. It wasn't a very good sculpture. "This is Digger's fault," Grimjim protested from the grave. "He showed us the efficiency, the beauty of the single hole. We just wanted to improve on it." "By killing more people?" Jenny asked incredulously. "By saving time," Grimtim insisted. "Do you know how many graves we dig a year? Hundreds. If we could cut that in half, think of the topiary we could create." "Nobody cares about your plant sculptures," Jenny shouted. "The state championship judges care," all 3 Grims said in unison. As they were arrested, Digger was brought from his cell to identify his tea supplies, which the Grims had indeed stolen and improved by making it stronger. "Idiots," Digger muttered. "You changed the proportions. Too much embalming fluid. You're lucky Barbara lasted 3 days instead of 3 hours." "We thought more would be more efficient," Grimslim explained. "That's not how chemistry works." Digger was genuinely offended. "There's an art to murder, a precision. You can't just add more poison and hope for the best." "Technically, you shouldn't add any poison," Raven pointed out. "Well, yes, obviously, but if you're going to do it right." Digger sounded like a master craftsman whose apprentices had used his tools to make garbage. Later, at the station, Corvus pulled Raven aside. His expression was more controlled than usual, which meant he was either very angry or very constipated. "You've ruined everything," he said quietly. "Which thing specifically?" Raven asked. "I ruin a lot of things. It's hard to keep track." "My frame job. Morticia Embalmer was supposed to be arrested. I had evidence planted. Perfect evidence. But you caught the real killers. Isn't that good?" Raven's height rose to 5 feet 11 inches with confused pride. "Not for my plans." Corvus made a note, then another, then an entire paragraph. This isn't over, Darkblade. Your chaos might have won this round, but order will prevail. Okay, Raven said cheerfully. Want to get lunch? I'm thinking sandwiches. Corvus stared at him, made another note, then surprisingly said, Fine, but I'm choosing the restaurant, somewhere that labels their food correctly. As they left for lunch, Raven texted Summer. Caught bonus killers. Grim Reapers who weren't real Reapers. Just gardeners with bad priorities. Lunch with my nemesis now. Summer replied, Your nemesis? Ha 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 ha. Corvus. He wants to destroy me but also likes sandwiches. That's the most Crimson City thing ever. Enjoy your nemesis lunch. The case was closed. 4 killers caught, 1 master, 3 apprentices. Several widows saved. The cemetery would need new staff, preferably ones who didn't view murder as a time-saving measure. Chief Gruff held another meeting to congratulate everyone. Excellent work. Though the cemetery is now suing us for the damaged headstones. I only knocked over 2, Raven protested. And that angel, but the angel was judging me. Regardless, case closed. Good job, everyone. As everyone dispersed, Raven noticed something. The pattern had been about efficiency, but it had created more work. 4 arrests instead of 1. Multiple investigations, tons of paperwork. Hey, he said to Jenny. Isn't it ironic that trying to save time ended up wasting more time? That's not irony, that's justice, Jenny replied. It can't be both. In Crimson City, everything can be everything. She had a point. Raven's phone buzzed. An unknown number. The cemetery appreciates your work. The graves will keep coming. Efficiency is eternal. A friend. He showed it to Jenny. Probably just spam, she said. Very specific spam. This is Crimson City. Even our spam is weird. True enough. As Raven left the station, he felt satisfied. They'd solved the case, saved lives, and nobody had died during the arrest, though Grim Jim had a grave-shaped bruise. The cemetery would recover. They'd hire new grave diggers, ones with better backs and worse tea recipes, ones who understood that efficiency shouldn't come at the cost of human life. But somewhere in Crimson City, someone was probably planning the next ridiculous murder scheme. Something about convenience or comfort or making their job easier through creative interpretation of mortality. That was tomorrow's problem. Today Raven had lunch with his nemesis and dinner with his girlfriend. In Crimson City, that counted as a very good day, even if the definition of good was highly flexible, like everything else in this city that couldn't decide what color it was. The end. Author's note. This chapter is dedicated to everyone who's ever tried to save time and ended up wasting more time in the process. Also to topiary artists who pursue their passion without resorting to murder. Any resemblance to actual cemetery efficiency initiatives or competitive plant sculpting is purely coincidental. Please remember, murder is never an acceptable time management strategy, no matter how behind you are on your gardening.